Hello my friend, ever wonder why guitars in pro mixes sound so full, wide and perfectly balanced? Today I'm sharing the secret technique that every pro engineer uses to make guitars sound incredible. Welcome back to the channel. Whether you're mixing acoustic or electric guitars, this one technique will ensure that your tracks sound just like they came out of a pro studio. And don't miss the bonus tip at the end for an ultra wide guitar tone. Raw guitar recordings often sound dull, muddy or thin. And if you're not careful, they can fight with other elements in the mix like vocals and bass. So what's the big secret? Well, it's all about EQ sculpting and parallel processing. These techniques ensure that your guitar sounds full, sits perfectly in the mix, and doesn't clash with other instruments. So we're just about to dive inside the DAW so I can talk you through these techniques, but just before we do, I want to let you know below this video is a free guitar EQ cheat sheet which is going to help you every time when you're mixing your guitar in your home studio. Let's dive straight in. So let's start things off with EQ. First off, we're going to look at some subtractive EQ, and we're going to look at three key areas when working with EQ today, which are going to make a really big difference to the overall sound of your guitar in the mix. And the first is to do with cutting out unnecessary rumble. For that, we're using a high pass filter just here in this SSL, and I'm filtering out everything below 80 Hertz. Everything I don't need that's unnecessary. That's not only going to do that, but it's also going to help the bass find its own space in the mix too, and make sure that your guitars aren't conflicting with the bass. If you're still finding that may be the case, then a further cut like what I've done down here around 120 may well also help to sculpt that space between the electric guitar and the bass guitar. Next, I'm performing a boost. Now this can be anywhere between say 1 to 4K, and this boost is gonna give you clarity and presence and also pull out the tone of your electric guitar. Now this is a really extreme example because this guitar actually doesn't sound very nice at the moment, but as I crank out about 1.2K with this SSL, you really hear that tone get pulled out and that clarity and presence. And my final key EQ move is to remove mud, typically somewhere around 200 to 400 Hertz. Let's take a listen. When it comes to the high end, sometimes adding a small boost around 6 to 10K can add some pleasing sparkle, but you just have to be careful. That sparkle can very quickly turn into harshness. On this occasion, this guitar was already sounding a bit too harsh, so I brought in a low pass filter and just dialed it back to around 9K just to ease that back. And before we leave EQ, one other thing I want to say is that try to avoid mixing, as I've done in this video today, in isolation with a soloed guitar. You may well get a great sounding tone to your guitar working with your EQ, but if it doesn't serve the mix, then it's kind of pointless. So mixing your guitar within the mix is always the way to go. So with that in mind, let's A/B our EQ moves within the mix.
Cast in stones to broken bones of the cast in stones to broken bones of the lion's share.
Next up, let's take a look at parallel compression. This is going to help me to add body and sustain to my electric guitar without over smashing up my original electric guitar bus. So I've created a new bus. I've called it Electric Smash, and I've created a send from my electric guitars to this new Electric Smash bus track. Now on that bus track I have added a compressor and I'm hitting it really hard, lots and lots of gain reduction. I've set my attack time to fast. That's going to help to thicken up my guitars. If you want more punchiness, then slow down your attack, and that's going to allow the transients to pass through. Whilst a slower release time will give you more consistent compression and a more controlled sound, a faster release time will give you a bit more of an aggressive sound. I typically find somewhere in between the two. Now we're going to blend some of that parallel compression on the guitar back into our original electric guitars until we start to hear some of that lovely thickness. Let's move on to the third step, using reverb and delay. To create depth, you can use a short plate reverb or a room reverb. Either of those will work incredibly well. But for width, I want to show you this very effective trick for making your guitar sound huge by using a stereo delay. So I'm using J37 from Waves, so get the benefit as well as of getting some of this tapey goodness into my guitar as well. Tape can really help just to iron out and give some tape secret sauce to some of the harshness in your guitar. But with the delay, I've set one side to 20 milliseconds and the other side to 40 milliseconds. And what this difference is going to do is create lots of huge width. So let's dial some in and take a listen. Let's take a listen to where we started out with our guitar at the top of this video. Somewhat flat and dull. Let's bring in our plugins and our new bus track. Sounding full and polished. Let's take a listen in the mix.
Casting stones to broken bones of the lion's share. Bones of the lion's share.
As a bonus tip for creating ultra-wide stereo guitars, I still don't think you can beat double tracking, recording the same piece twice and panning one hard left and the other hard right. Now bear with me, that might not necessarily be groundbreaking, but I see a lot of people doing double tracking but never actually changing anything, playing the same guitar with the same microphones, the same pickup settings, or using the same amps. But it's difference that's going to create that ultra wide stereo width when double tracking. I'm not talking about playing different parts. Play the same part, because you're never going to play the same part identically twice, but create difference sonically. So use different guitars where possible, different amp settings, different pickup settings or tone settings. That's going to help to create that wide stereo image. Try these techniques on your next mix and let me know how your guitars turn out. Have any favourite guitar mixing tricks? Share them in the comments box below. I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a video packed with tips to level up your music production. Don't forget, below this video is a free guitar mixing EQ cheat sheet. You'll also find a link to Pro Mix Method, a free mixing course that you can enroll in today to level up your mixing skills. Thanks for watching, keep creating, and I'll see you in the next video. And if you enjoyed this one today, you definitely want to check this next one out.